Welcome to Reread. Today we're on what I think is one of the best books in the New Jedi Order series, Star by Star by Troy Denning. A lot to go over here. There are ties to the Diversity Alliance story arc and Young Jedi Knights here. There's a lot of ties to everything. A lot of Young Jedi Knights ties and everything. And it's just wonderful. It's wonderfully done. Lusa from Crystal Star dies in this one. Kind of sad, but you know, she kind of dies off camera in a way, because we're just told that she's a victim. She falls victim to one of the Vox, and there's a lot of people who fall victim to the Vox and who are just kind of mentioned one off and then moved on. But Kip shows how you can throw missiles through the Force. He's the one that figures that out, and that's something that they will start doing for quite some time going forward. I think they're called Force Shadow Bombs, which I kind of like that idea. Borsk is shown really, he has a great story arc in this one. First off, he's dealing with Nominar, and the whole thing is from his perspective. This whole chapter is from Borsk's perspective as he's, you know, just in the moment trying to figure out where he can get the most support. And he finds out just in talking to Nominar and how he's dealing with him is to side strongly with the Jedi. Even though there's a lot of people who hate him for that, he's going to get more support. And the whole dialogue it's all an act. It's all the things he does, the pauses, the phrases, coming back with a powerful phrase, even though he knows even his own homeworld is going to get pissed when he says certain things. But at the end of the chapter, he goes, the applause was worth it, you know, the support, the political win. And I love how Borsk is portrayed in here. It's all about him, how he can position himself to have the most power in the New Republic, which is, it's done really well, especially when we get to the end, but I'm skipping ahead. We find out that the Vong culture has a thing about twins. Nominar did not realize they were twins. How does he not know? Well, obviously he wasn't doing his job and looking at the most important things, but in the Vong culture, Lord Shimra was a twin. He killed his twin, so they will fight each other. One will die and the next one will take over, be a leader. And so twins are revered in Vong culture because they're very rare, whereas in human culture they're not as rare. But the significance, that symbolism is there. And I love how, and I don't know if I mentioned this, but in earlier books, and maybe this one too, he refers to Vicky Sesh as just Vicky. And she feels, oh, we're on a first term basis. And then Nominar on the other end is going, wow, he just insults Vicky to her face by not giving her her last name, and she didn't even realize it's an insult. And I like how there's two different cultures here. One thinks it's a compliment. Vicky thinks he's paying her a compliment by being very personal with her, but in actuality, for Vong culture, he is insulting her because he doesn't think much of her. I just love that. I love that. Those are just aspects that only a good writer like Troy Denning can think about. There are some deaths in here, as of course the Jedi Strike Force team goes after the Vox and Queen. A lot of the Jedi are dying. I remember this. I remember the Barabels and how 2 out of the 3 died. Or I just remember them dying, and you know, the 2 of them will nuzzle the face of the one that's dead and leave her to die, and then the other one nuzzled the last one to die and moved on. But how one of them died, just to show how scary and vicious the Voxen are. The Voxens attack this dead body, rip it to shreds, and then pull it into the darkness. I mean, they're just horrific creatures. They're nightmare creatures. And you're thinking, is that violence, is that gore necessary to be ripping apart a dead body? I mean, come on, Troy Denning. Troy Denning gets you know, I was going to say a bad rap. It's not a bad rap. He gets well-deserved for just brutalizing certain characters. I mean, torturing his characters. But in this sense, I think it's worth it. Like Almirar, I didn't mention this, but at the very beginning, the first encounter with the Voxen are meant to scare you as they're vomiting up brown acid that just eats away at her sister until she's just dead, and there's just bone dropping and parts of skin and parts of bone where the acid is just eaten through. In fact, Almirar, as she drops her now dead sister in the escape pod, she manages to escape. She looks at her fingers where she was carrying her sister, and at the fingertips she had gotten some of the acid on there, and now they're just bone tips. I mean, ew, right? But then at the same time, what a powerful first chapter ago. What's going on? Because the Voxen, on top of that, can release a sonic scream and stuff like that. Like, they are bred to be Jedi killers. And it's just set up to say, hey, the Voxen are dangerous. It's not just your average beast. This is a Jedi. They've been, shaped to kill Jedi. And I love that. I love that about it. And I think the violence, in my opinion, or the gore, I should say, is well warranted. For example, one of the biggest deaths in Star by Star, obviously, is Anakin Solo. He's fighting lots of Vong here. He's getting hit by, this is the other thing, he's getting hit by thud bugs. Thud bugs are embedded into his shoulder and to his chest, his back, as he's getting spun around. I mean, he's just getting all his clothing's getting torn up and everything, but he's got this aura of blue light as he's sacrificing, himself so the Jedi team can get away. And it's just a very powerful moment. Of course, later on, I thought it was right after Anakin dies, Jaina is dancing with the dark side a little bit because she starts shooting force lightning out of her fingertips and starts killing Vong, and she's just all anger, and Jason's like, whoa, you need to calm down, don't go to the dark side. But she's totally running on revenge fuel and stuff. In fact, I think it may be the next book that Leia feels her in the Force and almost doesn't recognize her own daughter because she's so full of hatred. But it's a wonderful scene, but I thought it happened right after Anakin died. It happens a few chapters later. She's going back to retrieve his dead body. But really good stuff. Of course, the twins can feel it. Everyone is saddened by this. Leia lets out a wail that Han doesn't even recognize as his own wife. Of course, I've already mentioned this before, the great scene where Anakin dies, and it's just this boom, this moment of just deep sadness. But to Troy Denny's credit, he knows that the story must move on. We've done the big grieving scene for Chewie, and we've grieved for him for several books. And yeah, perhaps it was a little too long. So in this point, I think maybe the authors made a decision. Let's not grieve. I mean, we're going to grieve for Anakin, but let's not linger that much on grief. Sure, Jaina is going to have to work through issues. So will Jason as well. And Han and Leia are trying to make things happen. But Han this time says, I'm not going to run. I'm done running. I'm going to be here for Leia. It hurts me. It hurts her. I was all selfish and went into myself. And even when Leia lashes out on him, Han's hurt. But he doesn't lash back because he knows that Leia's hurt. Or at the same time, he's thinking, oh, is she getting on to me because of what I did to Chewie? And she's right. So Han is basically being the adult here. And Leia is too, but just struggling through their grief. It's really well done scene, really well written. And it's just, Han didn't even want Anakin to go, but he knew the strike team was the best chance to get the Vox and Queen, and they took a vote, and Han earlier on acknowledges, yes, you need to do this, you need to go. By the way, Lando's in this, which I do enjoy. He does the YVH droids, he introduces those, these like battle droids, they're really cool. There's just a lot of cool things in here that I really enjoyed. Luke and Mara do feel Anakin's death as well, but Mara says, Luke, keep your head in the game, we got to keep moving. There's also a scene where Han and Leia, they have young Ben, baby Ben Skywalker, and they're trying to get off the planet because Coruscant's under attack. And these guards stop them and say, yeah, you can come, but no droids allowed. We're just trying to rescue humans here. He goes, what are you talking about? No, the droids are with us, they're coming, we got to have it. It's like the nanny droid 3PO and a YVH droid. And he's like, no, we don't have time for stinking droids. You just need to, let the humans come on, the ships. That's all we're allowing. And the YVH goes, please move aside. And he blows them both away. And, of course, they turn out to be Vong. And he goes, threat neutralized. And Han looks at him and is like, whoa, big guy. He said, at first I thought you were just upset that we were leaving you behind. It's a really funny scene. And and by the way, I should say that Vicky Sesh has also been revealed to be the traitor now. She goes full blast, makes several attempts to steal Ben Skywalker, can't do it. Ben gets separated. Ben is given to 3PO, who, in typical fashion, gets on the wrong ship, just getting attacked by the Vong. Mara and Luke want to go to rescue it because Ben's there, but of course they can't. They have a battle to lead. And instead, Lando Calrissian takes over, rescues Ben. He lets them know that the package is okay. And then there's this scene here. After Lando says Ben, Mara says, I could kiss him. And Luke goes, well, it wouldn't be the first time. I mean, he says, I would let you. Still, that's kind of awkward, right? After what we know? Yeah, I bet you could kiss him more than once. Anyway, there's another great scene where Jason is captured. Vergeer, I don't care how you pronounce her name, but she cries for Jason. She said, well, what are you crying? Yes, these tears are for you. But also, it's kind of, the tears are for Jason because she knows what he's about to go through, all the torture and stuff. But also, I think that has a double meaning. I think the tears are healing tears, and they're actually for him to heal him of his physical injuries that he has at the time. So it's kind of has a double meaning there, which I enjoyed. At the same time, Borsk, and this happens like at the very end. I'd forgotten about this, but it's like just a few pages to the end. Borsk dies, and he gets poisoned too while he's dying. I didn't remember that either. But of course, he kind of blows his mini Vong, takes it with him. There's a great scene where Leia comes to visit him. He goes, "Have you come to gloat?" And she went, "No, I came to apologize," because she refused to help Borsk earlier in the book. And it's a good moment. Borsk knows that his political career is dead. The New Republic is dead. Like, he will be known as the person who ended the reign of the New Republic. I mean, and Borsk is like just dying of utter shame. And the only way that he knows to go out is by suicide, and he's trying to take Vong Law with him, but when Law refuses to see him, he just blows up as many as he can, just to sacrifice himself and take a few with him. It's a tragic ending for Borsk. Sadly, it's overshadowed by Anakin's death. If you didn't have Anakin's death, I think this death would be something that everyone would be talking about. But after you kill off Anakin in a pretty epic fashion, it's hard to top that. But Borsk's death is done really, or Borsk's death is handled very well. This book is excellent. Still, my favorite book in the New Jedi Order. I mean, there may be other books later on that I'm reading that I may enjoy. I will enjoy, I'm sure, but nothing as much as I've enjoyed New Jedi Order. It is a gem. All right, folks, that's it for now. See you next time.